Hey, what's up, rock stars? Let's see if my video is going. Make sure I'm not talking before it starts. How is everybody this weekend? I hope you guys are all ready to roll for the weekend ahead and everybody feels prepared and had a great seventh week this past week and are ready to go into our final and eighth round or eighth week of the Raw. I hope you guys are excited. I hope you guys feel good about what's to come and everybody set up some next steps with their coaches. If you haven't, I encourage you to talk to your coach. Make sure that you set up a time with them to uh, chat about next steps. So important. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about anxiety. Uh, I don't know how many of you guys have experience with anxiety or understand anxiety. I did not understand anxiety up until COVID happened. Never could relate when someone was anxious or suffered from anxiety. It was just something that I just had to trust that they were saying. I didn't know. I knew nothing about it. So I'm gonna tell you a little story, a little something that I kind of went through that um, made me open my eyes and see anxiety in a whole nother light. And yeah, it was a really hard time. So basically, when COVID first began, and I'm a personal trainer. That's what I did before this coaching job, and I still do a little personal training on the side still after hours. But so I've been doing personal training for like 6 to 8 years, somewhere in there, and you know, when I have a client that works with me 2 to 3 days a week, and you know, they're 3 hours a week. It's 1 hour sessions each. It's You develop a relationship with them, and they become your friends, and more than that, sometimes they become family. And I had a particular client that had been working with me for 3 years, and she came to me 3 days a week, and we developed a great friendship. We knew a lot about each other, and she was special to me. She was like family. Um, well, shortly after COVID started, before our gym got shut down, um, she was with me on a Saturday morning at a training session, and we were doing legs. So I was coaching her in legs, and you know, we were laughing, we were joking, we were having fun. She didn't indicate she wasn't feeling well in any way, and her session was over, and she ended up going home. And the next day, I was calling her to set up her next session with me, and I hadn't heard back, and it wasn't like her not to message me back. So a couple days go by, and I'm like, Monica, are you okay? And I didn't receive anything. I remember being at the gym when I received a text message from her phone, and it was her husband saying that I'm sorry to tell you that Monica passed away yesterday. And I was floored. Uh, What do you mean? This has got to be a joke. This is not real. You're joking with me. This is a joke. This is not funny. And I just was speechless. And I was just like, what do you mean? She was just with me yesterday morning, and she was fine. And he said that after she got home from her gym session, when she walked in the door, she ended up going into cardiac arrest and died um, right there. And it shook my world. Uh, I didn't, I couldn't fully grasp what he was saying to me. It just wasn't, it couldn't be. She was just with me yesterday morning. Um, and I couldn't picture her not coming in anymore. I could not picture her not coming into the gym and me not seeing her rushing in with her shoes in her hands and, late, but trying to get it. I mean, she was just such a wonderful person, and I couldn't believe she was gone. So I ended up taking that very, very, very hard, and I couldn't help but blame myself in a way. And I knew deep down inside I wasn't to blame, really. And I wasn't the cause of her death, but uh, there was just something about her having left the session, and as soon as she got home, you know, that's when it happened. And I just couldn't, I was trying to just rack my brain, trying to think of any kind of indication or sign that she wasn't feeling well or something that I could have done to avoid it. Maybe we shouldn't have done leg day for shit, and it's just one of those jokes you hear, in the gym. Nobody ever died from doing legs, and I don't know. It just really wrecked my world. And right after that, our gym got shut down for 3 months, and I was out of work. So I'm not the type of person that like I'm pretty laid back, and I can handle things as they come. I've never experienced like a crazy stressful life, and I never experienced what anxiety was like, and panic, and depression. I knew that it existed, and I knew that people that had it, but me personally had never experienced it. So over time, during that course of me being off work and dealing with these feelings of a very good friend of mine passing away unexpectedly, um, I fell into a depression, and I started to feel this heaviness on my chest, something that I couldn't shake, but something I couldn't pinpoint. It was just everything, and uh, I I came to realize this is depression and anxiety. This I understand what it feels like now, and I don't like it. Um, it was so hard for me to pull myself out of that dark hole that I was in. I wasn't handling it well, and I wasn't handling it all. I wasn't dealing with it at all. I wasn't talking about it. I wasn't. I kept myself busy with projects, trying to do things, around the house, um, and but I just could not figure out how to tackle this feeling. So that's what I wanted to kind of talk about today. Was this thing called anxiety. So a little bit about anxiety is that in general, people just naturally function better when they behave in ways that are consistent with their values. So when our behaviors are not in line with our values, our risk of stress and anxiety and even depression increases. So why then would we purposely behave in a direct opposite way to the things we value most? And then avoidance. We want to avoid our bad emotions and negative thinking, and it's like we only want to be in a happy state, so we struggle furiously against anything that threatens it and do whatever we can to not feel bad. Yet, in our effort to get rid of that internal, like, ickiness that we feel, we make it worse. And that's what anxiety does to us when we avoid. It's by avoiding what feels bad, we continue to create more of what we don't want. So we also internalize that message that we are incapable of handling difficult emotions. So like take drinking alcohol as an example. Like many people find socializing in large groups to be like extremely anxiety provoking. So people fear judgment. They fear they're going to be people are going to be looking at them for whatever reason, but they feel judged by others, and they may feel stupid when it comes to conversations or sense that they just don't fit in. So this unwillingness to sit with those uncomfortable thoughts and feelings while mingling at a party is a big reason why people don't drink alcohol, or why people drink alcohol in these settings is because alcohol temporarily mutes our anxiety. While the suppression might help at first, and the relief is just so short-lived, and the person's belief that they need alcohol to be social is reinforced, and then it becomes this vicious cycle. Behaviors, initially reduce anxiety, but that's only an illusion. Uh, we believe that when we do this, we're lessening our anxiety, and we're not. We're creating more of it. Like, you can't fail if you never finish. So by procrastinating, we fail anyway. Thereby, we're confirming this initial fear. Um, our behavior, like procrastination, takes us further away from this value that we have that makes our anxiety even worse. So if it's unhealthy to avoid your anxious thoughts and feelings, then what do you do with it? Well, you have to sit with them. You tolerate them. You observe them without judgment. Like, whatever comes up for you in the moment. And then just let it pass. You feel the uncomfortable feelings. Have those worrisome thoughts. At the exact same time, move toward what's making you anxious. So, in other words, feel bad, but do it anyway. It provides you the opportunity to see that nothing bad's going to happen, and an experience that you otherwise would have deprived yourself of. So, by changing or stopping our behaviors that are unhealthy, avoidant, or no longer work for us, we decrease our risk for anxiety, relationship difficulties, and mood disorders. Um, that's how powerful something like that can have control on us and have effect on our lives. And once I realized that in order to get over this feeling of depression and anxiety about my dear friend that passed away, where I felt to blame in a way, even though I knew it wasn't my fault, but I know we've had we had so many discussions about her excessive caffeine drinking and sugar, where she would drink these Mountain Dews every day, all day long. And I would tell her because she would get so extremely winded when we do like a basic movement. She's been with me for 3 years, so there's no reason why she should be so winded. And having been in the medical field for 10 years, working in radiology and emergency rooms and operating rooms, I knew what to look for, and the signs were there. You know, she was abnormally winded. She was not drinking enough water and just continually just drinking this caffeine and the sugar and just, Mountain Dew. I mean, that's one of the worst ones. And I would definitely talk to her about it anytime the opportunity came up. And I would even challenge her with more water and less, Mountain Dew. But, she never shook the habit. I'm not saying that that's what caused it, but these were my thoughts. You know, could I've done more? And I had to let go of those feelings. They weren't serving me. I was being chained down by this feeling that I was creating for myself. And there was no way I was going to get around it until I went through it. And that was the whole key for me. Um, yeah, so I felt those feelings. I cried those tears. I still cry to this day when I think about it. Just the other day, uh, it's still something that's so very sensitive to me. But I know now that it's not my fault. In fact, it could have prolonged her life just a little more working out with me. Who knows? Um, so my advice to you is if you suffer from anxiety or depression, the last thing we want to do is avoid it because we'll never get over it if we're constantly running from it. Just like that alcohol example. We drink to numb those feelings, to avoid the feeling of being anxious in a social setting. That's why people feel like they got to drink when they're around people, and they're not used to being around a bunch of people or whatever it may be. Don't let anxiety, something like anxiety that you actually have control over, and depression be a chain to your wrist and chain you down and keep you from moving forward. Take it from me. It took me too long to get through that and to get over it. When if I could have just stopped avoiding it and just took it head on and just been with it and been with those feelings without judgment, I could have been in a better place a lot sooner. But, you know, this is why we learn. This is how we learn, by going through these things. And we don't want to avoid experiences like this, painful experiences, even though we don't want to feel it. We don't, but this is growth. This is how we grow, you know, as much as it hurt me. And, I still think about her. I miss her. Uh, this was a growing opportunity for me, and it was necessary for me to understand what anxiety and depression is, and to understand that I have control over that. It does not have control over me, and I won't let something like that keep me from moving forward, and I don't want that to happen to you. So my encouragement to you is, if you're feeling some kind of way, or whenever you're feeling some kind of way with anxiety, or depression, or stress, or uh, panic, don't run from it. Say, okay, so what? All right, let's go. Like, let's feel this emotion. Let's feel this out. And then move past it. It takes some time to create that habit, just like anything else. Remember, this is a whole mind, body, soul transformation. And if you put in the work and you take the advice to heart and you stay open minded, anything can happen for you. You have the power in you. I promise. And that's what we're here to help you discover. You guys have a great weekend. I'll see you guys next week in week 8. Keep up the good work. Keep rocking it, and I'll talk to you soon.